What up, what up, what up? It's your boy JB coming right back at you, man. Welcome back to the channel. Why Diddy may get off. Guys, I just saw the indictment and I waited purposely till the indictment came out today before I made a video. I saw the news break last night that Diddy had been arrested and that kind of thing, and I had to jump on here because I wanted to see the indictment first before I made my video. And I've seen some interesting takes, but that's why my title is Why Diddy May Get Off. And I may jump around a little bit, so I apologize. But once I saw the indictment, I said, this is sensationalized to a point where that Diddy may have been done a favor. Remember, guys, it was Homeland Security that raided Diddy's properties. It wasn't the FBI. It wasn't the Secret Service or anything like that. It was Department of Homeland Security. And Diddy, I think this happened back in February or March, and now we're just getting an indictment. And in looking at the indictment, guys, if you go on Twitter right now, the only thing that's standing out to a lot of people is the 1,000 bottles of lubricant that Diddy had. If you look at the number one thing people are tweeting about out of all of that indictment, it's the 1,000 bottles of lube. The second thing, guys, they told us last night that there was something major that happened, that they had to go get Diddy the night before instead of letting him turn himself in today. Now, why am I saying this to you guys? I was looking into the indictment to see what was that new event that happened. It's not in there. So they go and get Diddy. They lock him up because at the end of the day, guys, whenever you see the media there waiting on a person to get locked up, this is to sensationalize the case. Okay? You don't want Diddy walking in having complete control of the narrative. Diddy was walking around Midtown Manhattan last night, according to the TMZ videos that I saw. Diddy gets locked up 30 minutes after he gets back to his hotel and they search his hotel room. But Diddy has already been in Manhattan for the last week waiting for the indictment to drop so he could turn himself in. Now, this is a guy who has the resources to flee, could get on his private jet, go to a country that doesn't have any extradition. But this man was in New York waiting. And that's another significant portion that I'm saying about why Diddy may get off. They got evidence from Diddy in LA, Miami, and in New York. His lawyers has gotten the New York Fed's office to do the case. Now, why am I telling you guys this? Whether you like Diddy or not, Diddy is the king of New York. Diddy, I go back to the days of the Frank Lucas thing on American Gangster. One of the things Frank Lucas said is, Harlem gonna look out for me. Harlem ain't gonna turn against me. Now, eventually Frank Lucas pled and that kind of thing. But one of the things I'm a little bit concerned about with this Diddy indictment is that it looks like they're using a lot of things from the Cassie information, again, along with some others. But if that Cassie stuff is involved, I would assume that that settlement said that she can't testify against him and all that kind of stuff. So let's just assume that the Cassie component of it gets thrown out. The next thing you gotta assume is Diddy's gonna have a favorable jury pool in New York, right? When people start seeing Diddy get attacked like this, Diddy's gonna become a victim. Now, you may not agree with me. Now, I'm not talking about the charges, guys. I'm not here to be pro Diddy or against Diddy. I'm just talking about the process that the feds have done. This is the same Homeland Security that was protecting President Trump in Butler when he got shot, and they didn't do everything they were supposed to do. If this was a true Fed case or a true Secret Service case, I would be like, Diddy's done. But this is a Homeland Security case that the feds are now prosecuting. The next thing I want to tell you guys is look at what's happening in the Young Thug trial. If Diddy draws this thing out, and Diddy's witnesses and all that kind of stuff start to get squirrely, start to change their story, Diddy's going to get off. The next thing you got to look at, guys, is that Diddy got a lot of people in his web. How many people are going to try to make this thing go away that are in very powerful positions right now? And one of the things Diddy knows he got leverage because there's a lot of people. And to be honest, guys, this indictment is not as salacious as the one with Jeffrey Epstein, right? And if they didn't have that 1,000 bottles of lube and all that kind of stuff, I'm thinking right now that the drug dealer they arrested in Miami when they raided Diddy's jet in Miami, he's probably talking. Cassie's probably talking. Some of the other people that have worked with Diddy is probably talking. But I don't think the feds have a concrete case. Because at the end of the day, guys, this indictment is talking about the drugs, talking about the human trafficking, and all this kind of stuff. But I think the arrest last night prematurely is what's letting me know they probably don't have a case, and they want to win in the court of public opinion as opposed to the court of law. Now, if Diddy's lawyers are trial lawyers and not plea agreement lawyers, and Diddy takes this thing to trial, I think Diddy gets off. I also think, I'm going to give y'all something. In 2020, Diddy went out and endorsed Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden knows he probably got to pardon Diddy, or some other stuff going to come out about a lot of people. Guys, Diddy wasn't dealing with no amateurs. And I think that the biggest problem that the feds have with this case is they were embarrassed, because I've never seen anybody get raided by feds and not come out of handcuffs. Diddy has had 9 months to know what was happening. And Diddy's in New York, ready to turn himself in, not running from it. Guys, I can tell you, I think he's going to get off, and I think he's going to be, if it does go to trial, it's going to be like this Young Thug trial. And all that has happened in the Young Thug trial is that the Fulton County DA's office has been exposed more than Young Thug. I think right now that if you take away the salacious components of this, this is a hard case to prove if you don't fight it in the court of public opinion. Now, the feds have a high success rate, especially the Southern District of New York. But Diddy is from New York. New York loves him, right? New York loves him. I ain't talking about the cases now. I'm not talking about the charges. I'm talking about the fact that Diddy changed the rap game as we know it today. Nobody's really talking about shooting people up like they used to, because when Diddy came on the scene, he talked about getting that money, being a baller, being a shot caller, all about the Washingtons and all that kind of stuff. Now, we know people said he was involved with Biggie's murder. People said he was involved with Tupac's murder. It may be the chickens coming home to roost, guys, but our court of law is different. And I think right now, the way this thing is being handled and how people are processing this, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time getting New Yorkers who believe in hard work, who believe is if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, who Diddy promoted his entire career. 12 people on the jury. You're going to have a hard time getting me to believe that when this evidence comes out and Diddy counters everything and they see one of their own, you're going to have a hard time getting them convicted. And let's be honest, guys, I'm going to finish with this. I'm old enough to remember when Diddy got caught up with that gun charge in New York and everybody said he was going down. Who walked out of there not guilty? Now, we don't have Johnny Cochran with him this time, but I didn't watch this man get out of that case because somebody else decided it was them that had the gun, or whatever Diddy can work out, regardless of what you think about him. This man is a magician, but the one thing we know, he's beat an unbeatable case before. He stayed out of jail for a long time. Why? Because I think Diddy knows the legal system more than people giving him credit for. Now, does he need to go through the process based on what he's been accused of? Absolutely. But I would tell y'all right now, don't count Diddy out. This man knows he got a lot of people in his web that if this case goes to trial, a lot of people gonna get exposed. And do those people want to get exposed? I think they're gonna try to get Diddy to plea, because otherwise we gonna have pre-trial motion after pre-trial motion after pre-trial motion. And Diddy won't go to trial for about 3 years from now. But I think you're about to see a lot of legal maneuvering, because if Diddy was ready to turn himself in New York, I think he's just as confident as it was back in the day when he went through that gun trial and got off. And I think what Diddy's going to do, he's going to see how his lawyers present this. And I think they got a whole team. I think they got a dream team of lawyers that's going to come in here and want to make sure they embarrass the Southern District of New York federal attorneys. Guys, I can tell y'all like this is different than Harvey Weinstein and different than R. Kelly. The government is already lost, because the only thing people are talking about is 1,000 bottles of lubricant. Nobody's talking about the legal stuff, because guess what? Diddy already went through his worst part, and that was when that Cassie video dropped. And if they don't start playing that video over and over just to remind people about Diddy, because they have to attack the character. If they don't attack the character, I don't know if legally they're going to do enough to get 12 New Yorkers now, guys. And anybody who's listening to me, you know your New York people are different than any other people you meet. They think different. They are different. They're proud of it. They don't do what everybody else thinks they should do. New York people are going to sit on that jury, and you got to convince them that Diddy, who put this place on the map, who still claims New York, who was in New York when he turned himself in, and the feds have made a mistake by letting Diddy have this case in New York. They should have tried him in Miami, or they should have tried him in LA. Don't try this man on his home turf, because I think already nobody's talking about the legal. Everybody's asking, what does this man need 1,000 bottles of lubricant for? And if you gonna try somebody on federal cases, I need to see more than that. And again, if they got it and it's gonna stick, again, I ain't pro Diddy, I'm just talking about the process. This is a 3 to 4 year trial at least. And if the feds can keep this going, I give it to them. And again, guys, I apologize for the long video, but I see Diddy getting out of this one. And based on these holes I'm already seeing, you can't come and arrest that man, search his hotel room, and don't put it in the indictment on why he couldn't just turn himself in. I'm pretty sure the video's gonna drop of when he got arrested and him in handcuffs and all that kind of stuff. But if you're gonna take this man down, the legal portion alone should do it, not some sensationalized arrest. Because you know, if he would have walked in and turned himself in, everybody would have been like, damn, is Diddy that powerful? He can just walk in, turn himself in, y'all don't go arrest him. I think the feds have messed up. Diddy got to go through this process. I won't judge on the charges until I hear evidence from both sides. But I think based on what I'm seeing so far, there's a small chance this man may be found not guilty. Y'all get down in the comment section. Let me know what you think, man. Is Jeff crazy or is Jeff on to something? Y'all tell me what y'all think gonna happen with Diddy. But if you look at everything outside of the lube and all that kind of sensationalism, this is a lot less than Jeffrey Epstein. And unless I see something else come out, man, this is gonna be a tough one. Get down in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think, man. If you hadn't already, mash that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell for notifications. And until next time, I'm gonna holler.